Hey, how's it going, everyone? Today we're going to do some online arbitrage book sourcing. We're going to use Flipmine to try to find some books on eBay that are undervalued to sell on Amazon. And we're also going to try to find some books on Amazon using some of Keepa's features. Probably we use some Keepa deals, probably some Keepa product finder. We might even look at some of the books I'm tracking and see if we can pick up anything that could potentially be good. So with that said, let's get right into it. And let's start with some Flipmine. All right, so if you're new to Flipmine, this is basically a software that's going to find products on eBay and compare them to Amazon. And this isn't just for books. This is for a lot of categories. But the idea here is that if you find something undervalued on eBay, you can flip it on Amazon for a profit. And obviously, there's going to be a ton of mismatches. So you're going to have to go through multiple examples. But, let's see if we can find anything here. I actually don't even have any filters set right now. I'm just kind of seeing what popped up here. But let's see. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and set my filters here. So this is a new filter that I've been using here. And I'm looking at used books that have a sales rank under 2 million, that have a profit that is greater than 25. So that's kind of what I'm using right now. Finding that's definitely helping. So let's see, this is a substance abuse book. We could pick this up for 25. Look over here on Amazon. This is good news that the price on Amazon is more expensive than it is on eBay. You can see the buy box price is right around 60 bucks. That's good news. Now, if you look at the Keepa chart of this book, though, it is pretty seasonal, and also its price is quite volatile. And what I mean by that is this book has been as low as $3 in the past. It's been as low as $4 there. It's been as low as $5 here. So even though this buy box price right now is pretty high, it's pretty inflated, it has been much lower in the past. So this is a book that you probably could still sell for a profit, but there might be points in time where the price is actually much cheaper on Amazon. So you probably, there's going to be inherently more risk with a book like that. So that's something I would personally pass on. All I'm really looking for is the difference in price here between eBay and Amazon. And if I can find something that, where there's a big enough difference, then potentially we can go ahead and pick it up. Now, I'm also trying to match to make sure that the images match here. That's going to be really important because I don't really want to look at mismatches, obviously, because that'd be a waste of time. So let's see if there's anything else that we can see here. Spectrum, this looks interesting. I would doubt that this is actually $460 on Amazon, but who knows? Maybe it could definitely be that. So let's go and take a look at those first. And we got May in-house. Hey, how's it going? My cousin from Philippines will be watching. Awesome. That sounds great. We have people from around the world. That's really cool. I appreciate the support. All right, let's see what we got. 69 bucks for this book. We look over here on Amazon. I mean, you could have bought this book for right around the same price. It is very seasonal though, so there has been a pretty good amount of time where this book has sold for well over 100 bucks. You can see a lot of these buy box prices are like around the 130 or even more range as well. Has been lower. This is also an acceptable condition copy. It's from Thrift Books. That's why it's probably in acceptable condition. So I would say that honestly, this is a book that, because it is so highly seasonal and you do see the price of this jump up really high during textbook season, this would probably be a decent pickup at 60 bucks. But I'm not sure if I'd want to buy it. It's actually $70. I'm not sure if I'd want to buy it in acceptable condition. So one thing we could do is just look at the other prices on eBay, and we can go sort by price and shipping lowest first. And let's see if there's any of these copies that are going to be a little bit cheaper here. And we're going to make sure that the image is right too. So this has 6 little circles up there. All right, like this. So it looks like you buy it for 60 plus shipping here. So you got a couple offers at 60 and then it goes up. So I mean, honestly, this is from Integrity Book Sales. This might be something that we message the seller and say, hey, would you do 40 bucks for this? Because you never know, they might. So I'm going to go and contact the seller. Let's go ahead and ask for 40 bucks, see what's going on. Probably say no. But let's see. Would you do 40 bucks? I think with this book here, you would obviously try to sell it in these 3 textbook seasons. So either May and June, August, September, or January and February. That's when the sales rank use out. And that's generally when the used price tends to go up. And this is something that I'd probably hold out. I'd probably try to get like, I don't know, try to get like 150 for this. And like I said, if we just send an offer for 40, and if they accepted, which they probably won't, but if they did, I mean, we'd be spending 43 and making 70. And I think right now we could pay, was it 60 bucks? We could pay $64 for this book, which I think is already a decent deal, but obviously because the sales velocity is so good on this. So, and look, you can actually get an extra 10% off. Actually, that's Thrift Books here. I'm not sure if this person had that same deal, but that is definitely interesting right there. And let's see what else we got. Got some more people in the house. We got Mr. Leach in the house. How's it going, man? I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well. I'm on spring break now. I'm on a 2-week spring break. Are you on spring break? I'd be curious to know. What happens when you find a good book, but you can't find it on Amazon, the same image? Um, yeah, if you find, I guess you mean like if you find a book on eBay and then you can't match it to an Amazon listing, probably it's not going to be a book that's going to be good anyways, because if you can't find the book on Amazon, that means probably no one's buying it. So, um, there's maybe no demand for it. It could be the case that maybe a listing hasn't been created, but yeah, if you come across a book on eBay and there's no Amazon listing, it's more than likely going to be a book that no one has made the time to actually make a listing for it, probably because there isn't enough demand for it. We can pick this book up here for 25, but you see that on the Keepa graph, this thing has been worth right around $6 or $7. So that's going to be a quick no, a quick pass. We got a judo book for 20 bucks. Over here on Amazon, we got a $26 buy box, and this actually looks a lot better. This is something that probably would be something that would require you to exploit the buy box a little bit in order for you to make money, but I think this is definitely something that you can make money on. So let's go and put the buy cost in, 20.05. Okay, and let's see so right now the buy box is 26. So obviously if you sold at 26, you'd lose money. But let's take a look at kind of the base value of this book over time. Notice that this book kind of on the low end has been right around like 25. And for a good part of the last year has been like $30 plus, which is good because generally you tend to think there's going to be a little bit of a prime bump here. And if we take a look at basically the used buy box, it's fairly often, significantly above that lowest price. And look at January here. This was actually above $45 for a good period of time. And there's also sales at $80 and even more than that. So one thing that I think would be really cool to do is let's actually look at the offers tab. And so I'm going to go to data here. I'm going to go to offers. I'm going to see what have the Amazon FBA sellers been selling this for. So I'm going to go to the offers tab. I'm going to look in the last 180 days. And then I'm going to come over here and click the prime shipping because I want to see prime sellers. And then I'm going to include historical offers just so that we can see anyone who had a copy via prime and then no longer is on the listing. We want them to show up to see kind of what their copy had moved for. So a couple of things that we can do to try to find this is we can try to sort by sold in the last 30 days. And if you see that that doesn't give you anything, then what you probably want to do is come over here and filter by last seen. So if I filter by last seen, this is going to show us all the prime sellers that are on the listing and then all the prime sellers that have recently gone off the listing. And so for all these people who have their stock they're still in stock and you can see what price they're at. But what we want to do is scroll down until we start seeing people who've gone out of stock. Like for example, this person here is no longer in stock. They went out of stock here on March 24th, which was yesterday, and their price was right here at $76. So that would tell you that they probably sold their copy for $76. That's probably why they went out of stock. Here's another example of someone who went out of stock. They went from stock quantity 1 to 0. Their price was $65.23 right here. And so this starts to tell a story. It's like, okay, this person right here actually was in stock for a very short period of time, and they went out of stock at 1997. So they sold this for fire sale, actually cheaper than what you could buy it for now. And then let's see if we can keep going on. This person looks like they also sold this for 1999. So it looks like we had a bundle of people who pretty much instantaneously sold their book for 1999. And then we actually see some other people who were able to sell this for more. So what this tells me is this book can go for 40, can go for 60 in the buy box when you win it. But a lot of sellers are also just sending this in for 20 bucks, which is technically what the price is here. So this is a book that probably would be good to look at because you could probably pick up copies on eBay for cheaper. Like here's a copy for $18.67, $16.21. So these are going to be actually a lot better deals in the grand scheme of things. So it looks like $16.20 is going to be the best. And we might open up a few of these just to see if any of these are just going to be smaller sellers that might take an offer. So this is a charity. They might accept like 13. So they say, hey, would you do 13 bucks? And I think if you pick this up for 13, that'd be a much better deal because now worst case scenario, I think you'd sell this for $29.99, which means you'd make your money back and make a little bit of profit. But we saw some of those FBA sellers actually able to move theirs between the 40 and 70 range. So, maybe you set your min price at like 35 and then you set your max price at like $69.99. And if you get $69.99, that would be a great deal right there. So let's see. Yeah. So I think that'd be interesting. So this is someone I would send an offer for 13. So let's see if they would do that. I'm going to come over here, contact the seller, go, hey, would you do $13? Boom, send them that message. All right, let's see. We got a lot of comments in here. So we answer that. Hey Denise, how's it going? Good to see you. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Camila says, is that the same for Scout IQ? Do you recommend doing more research? Good question. I think it depends on your general feel about what the book could be worth. Like if you're coming across a book that's really old and it's pre-ISBN and for some reason you think there's a possibility it could be rare, yeah, there might be another, like you might want to take a second look and actually research it. I'm not too familiar, honestly, with the collectible used book market. So I would probably just try to type in Amazon. If I couldn't find it there, I'd probably type it into eBay to see if I can find it there. But yeah, maybe you can look at Abe Books. I'm not really sure. Maybe someone else in the chat here would know, but about possible other places to look at books that are pre ISBN that could be valuable. But generally, I don't mess with those. But yeah, if you have a hunch that it could be worth something, I would look it up for sure. Eric says we get a week in February for President's Day, but my break is the week after next. Definitely need it. Yeah, man. As a teacher, you know it, man. You need that break for sure. Yeah, no worries, Frozen School. Out with the grandson this morning. See you next Saturday. Hey, missing. No worries, Sherry. Also, this is always recorded, so you can go back and watch it. Gary says, good morning. I'm on spring break too. The sellers are skyrocketing in the Judah book. Doesn't that give you pause? I didn't even look at that yet. So let's go and take a look at that. Yeah, that's something that I would definitely look at before we actually just go ahead and buy it. So yeah, you do see the used offer count start going up, and that's actually why we probably see the price of this start to go down. So let's go and take a look at the grand scheme of things. And when the used offer count was similar as it is today, you could see this book was selling for right around $5. So yes, Gary, once again, Gary is correct. Yeah, this is a book that is probably going to continue to go down in value. And we know that it can go down as low as $5. What's interesting is back here in 2022, it just dropped off a cliff. So I'm not really sure why all of a sudden so many copies were bought here. Maybe it was a reseller themselves who bought a whole bunch of copies and they're able to move this for some pretty good money. But clearly that shows you how the used offer count definitely impacts the market. So thank you for that. Okay, let's see what else we got. This is out of stock already for $32, and we can see why this was out of stock. So this actually was a great deal here. $32.03 from World Book USA. I buy a ton of books from them. This is something that has sold recently. Once here for $179, another time for $179, and then sold here at $58 when the price dropped. This is a really good sign when you see a price drop in, when you see a book drop in price and it sells pretty much immediately, especially for $58. That means this book must have a ton of value. Same thing here. When we dropped from 300 all the way down to, actually, no, this is probably a collectible offer that sold for 224. Collectible offer went from 1 to 0. We have a sell at 159, a sell at 275. And in the past, when this was in stock in new condition, people were buying it for 32. If we look a little bit further, there's tons and tons of history of selling. So this was a no-brainer. This was completely mispriced. That would have been a great deal, 3203. Probably could have easily got 179.99. Maybe a little bit less since offer count's going up a little bit, but that would have been an amazing profit right there for sure. Let's see. I almost missed this. Is it a standing meeting? I think, yeah, I stream every Saturday morning from 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. PST. So I do that every Saturday. I probably should advertise that more. I do a terrible job advertising it, but I should probably put that on my banner on my YouTube page. Yeah, Eric says that the data and offers tab is a huge time saver. I would agree. Do you have your stuff sent to your house or to a prep center? I have my stuff sent to a prep center. They're going to then put everything in a box, ship it to the Amazon warehouse, and then once a customer buys it, they ship it to the customer. So the overwhelming majority of my books I do not touch. I just send straight to a prep center. All right, let's go ahead and see if we can find other stuff here. All right, let's look at this basic conducting book. This looks good. Again, I'm looking for a difference in price. Some of these dummies books can actually be pretty inflated. And then the Stony G book. Let's look at contemporary auditing as well. See if any of these things look good. Okay, let's just go through these quickly, and then we'll head over to maybe some Amazon flips. Okay, this is something that I'm going to pass on. This is interestingly sold for about $60, but it's been as low as 10 or 15. So this is something that actually has held some pretty decent value in the past. Like over the last, let me get rid of the new price here so that the data, what is this, the buy box? Let me get rid of the buy box too so we can see. So this is a book that has sold for about 40 or $50, has seasonality, but that was in the past. Generally for books, the further you go back in the past, the less relevant it is. But what would you'd have to pay 26 for this. I mean, best case scenario, you're probably selling this for like $70 or so. So maybe, I mean, right now on Amazon it's cheaper. You can buy this for $10, and I actually have a tracker set for 6. So this definitely has some potential. There is a newer edition of this book out that just came out as well, though. So not exactly sure how that's going to impact the market. One thing we could do is try to look back at the previous editions to see what's going on there. But definitely this newer edition has some pretty good value for sure. Let's see what we got. Is there a way to get price notifications for specific books when they drop heavily in price significantly? Also, thanks for the help with ungaining McGraw-Hill. Yeah, no worries, man. Yeah, there is. There's a basically you use something called Keepa deals, or sorry, Keepa product finder, which is called a Keepa alert. So if let's say this book you wanted to track right here, like let's say you wanted to know if this book ever dropped it to a used price of 15, then you would just come here to track product and you'd go to over here where it says used. You'd say, hey, notify me when the price gets 15 or less. Track it for a year, year, 3 years, 2 weeks, whatever you want. And then you just press start tracking. And then basically in your settings, you just set it up so that you have your text message there, you have your phone number there, you have your email in there, you have your web notification so that if that ever drops in price, you get notified. So like this would be a good example. Look how the new price of this book went from $48 all the way down to 28. So this would have been something that would have been great for you to, to have been tracked. I mean, this is something that if you were tracking in new third-party condition, you would have got notified. So I probably wouldn't buy that book because there's probably not enough margin there, but that's the premise. Yeah, you could definitely track books. And let's see. How do you check on books you're restricted on before you buy? Good question, Camila. So I use a software called SellerAmp. I'll show you right now. Every time I look at a book, SellerAmp populates on the left. And once you go ahead and connect your Amazon account, I'll tell you if you're eligible or not to sell it. So this says yes. That means I can sell it. If it says no, you have a couple of options. You can take that ASIN and go over to Amazon, try to add a product, and then type the ASIN in. And then if you press enter, it'll either say request approval or it will not allow you to actually to even attempt to ungate. So most books you come across, you're going to be able to get ungated, and you just have to watch a video, answer a couple questions, and you don't have to watch the video every time. Just answer a couple questions and you usually get ungated in it. But it does actually depend a little bit in terms of like how new your account is. So the newer your account is, probably the harder that's going to be. But okay, so here's a book for $23.09 plus $6 shipping. So we had to pay about $29 for this. And let's see, got a little bit of wear and damage there, which is not ideal, but this still looks like it's in decent condition. So we'll say $26.09. This is the used price of this book is above the new price. So definitely the used copies here are not going to be selling, but Amazon currently right now is just going up in price. They're at $58. So there is some room for you to sell this for maybe like in the $50 range if Amazon were to stay here, and you could probably get that. Now, Amazon has been cheaper in the past. They've been as low as $29.99. So if that's an inherent risk with this book, is because Amazon's on the listing and in the past they've been so cheap that if they ever got down to $29.99 again, then you'd kind of would be screwed. So good news is that over the last year, they've been pretty steady at 48. It's probably very likely they're going to stay at that. And they have actually gone up in price. So let's go ahead and just say, this book has definitely been moving. What could we sell this at in used condition? I would say probably like $39.99. I'd say you'd probably be able to move it at. I think someone out there is willing to spend $8 or $9 less dollars for this book. So the profit, if we were to buy this for $0, would be 25. So you just have to reverse engineer your price here. So you'd probably have to send an offer for like $10 to pick it up for 16. And if you did that, you'd make a 60% ROI. So definitely not going to be an amazing deal, but a deal there. Could be a deal. Let's see what else we got. Are you limited on how many books to sell to not get in trouble? I'm not quite exactly sure what you mean by that, Camila. You can sell as many books as Amazon is going to allow you in terms of the amount of storage capacity that they give you. So it's going to be dependent on your sell-through rate. But the only really way that you're going to get in trouble selling books on Amazon is if you're misrepresenting the condition. So if you say this is very good and it's like broken, or it's like the spine is falling apart, or if you're selling counterfeit textbooks, or if you're selling used books as new, like that's really the only way that you're gonna get hurt there. Buy from the company. I mean, no. So Amazon just doesn't want you using your Prime services. So if you're a Prime customer, then don't use your Prime service to buy books that you get free shipping on or 2-day shipping on. So they just don't want you taking advantage of the Prime service. So you'd have to buy either merchant fulfilled books, or if you do want to buy a Prime book, you're gonna have to hop on a second account that doesn't have Prime services on it so that you actually pay the shipping. So yeah, I've been buying books on Amazon since 2016, 2017, and I've been doing that for 6 or 7 years. So definitely nothing has happened to me, and I've sold thousands of books. So okay, carpentry book, 31 bucks for this. Go over to Amazon, it's 28. Buy box is 65. This is something that inherently has gone down really low in the past. So maybe this is something you actually do set a tracker for, maybe like right around 8 to 10 bucks. Because in that case, this is something that if you were to pick up for 8 or so bucks, this is something that you could probably sell for a little bit of an inflated buy box, and you could probably do well on that. So I'm gonna go and put $8 here. I'm gonna track that book. Okay, let's keep going. We got Tony's Story here. We can pick this up for 35. Looks like the lowest price is 32 over on Amazon. The buy box is 99. And wow, this is a book that actually has recently been selling for some good money. Couple sales at around 75, and then kind of plummeted down in price here. So it went from 160 all the way down to 60, then down to 35. And you see that there are some sales here at 30. Probably one of these sales is from the buy box seller right around 80 as well. And this book is wild. This should be selling in new condition for right around $6, but notice that those new third-party sellers and Amazon has gone out of stock. And clearly when they go out of stock, there is a small subset of the population willing to pay 5x, 6x the MSRP. So, I think I probably wouldn't pick this up, but it's interesting that this book was so cheap. This is something you could track in new condition for like $7 from Amazon or a new third party. But when they do come back in stock, they're kind of in stock for a long time. Like this is basically a year that they were back in stock. So I probably wouldn't track it. I probably wouldn't pick up those in new condition, but you could try to do that. And look at this. This is a book that I bought. And so here's a great example here, Camila said. This is a book I bought on June 26, 2016. So this is a book that I flipped back then. How many years ago is that? That's like 7 years ago. So back to 2016. Let's actually look at the 2016 data. June, May, June. Okay, so I probably bought it right here at $6 because I probably saw that it was selling for like 30 or so. So I bought it here for 6. Let's see, when would I have sold this? I probably sold this sometime in 2017. Back in the day in 2016, though, there weren't people really doing this at all. So there were people using eFlip. So I probably was not. Who knows? I probably made money on it, but you never know. All right. Camila says, so doing OA, big stores can ban you if you're buying a lot of the same product. Is that the same for books? Limited up to 10, I heard. Yeah, there are definitely some, from my understanding, some traditional OA, like when you're doing traditional OA and you buy a large quantity from retail stores, that they could ban you or that they could definitely cancel your order. When it comes to Amazon, you're buying from individual sellers. So if you buy 10 copies of a book from one listing, you're actually buying it from 10 different sellers most of the time. So in that case, no, because you're buying from individual sellers. If you buy 10 from one company, I've never had the experience where they've said, no, cancel your order. The only time I ever get my orders canceled are when somebody else buys the book like seconds before I buy the book. And then they say, hey, someone else bought the book before you did. We're out of stock. So sorry. But yeah, you don't have to worry about that, Camila. This is, yeah, you don't have to worry about that. Okay, let's just go ahead and maybe look at this book quickly. Get that one. Let's refresh the page, and then we'll go over to Keepa and look at some things there. Okay, this is probably a good pickup. So this was out of stock at $16 from Thrift Books. Let's go down to the Amazon page. This would have been a great deal here. So this was selling right around like $70 pretty frequently. This would have been a solid pickup. You would have paid $16.08 for this book, and you would have flipped this for right around like 65. So you'd have made $28 profit. That would have been a great deal there. This book is still available for 30. Looks like you can buy it for 30 now. But look how interesting this is. This book actually has great sales data about right around $80, and the price of this just plummeted down to 33, and that's probably because that book is from Thrift Books, right? Yeah, so this is an acceptable copy. It says readable. Pages may have considerable notes and highlighting. So this is probably a book that just is super highlighted and underlined, which is not ideal, but this would be a good deal still. You could pick this up for 33. And you can sell this. So you can buy this either on Amazon or on eBay right now. You'd actually want to buy it on eBay. It's cheaper on eBay. So you'd buy it on eBay for $30.42. And if you were to flip this right now, the new price just recently came down from 88 down to 70, which is okay. I mean, you could still sell it for under that for 65 and still make some decent money, about 44%. But ideally, you'd want that new price to go back up. And so I'd probably hold out and try to sell it for right around like 70, 75, or maybe 79.99. But that's a book that is decent there. It's a readable copy. That's something that I would honestly buy. So if no one's going to buy that, I will buy that. Let's see. And that was actually a book that was still there. So that's kind of cool. Sitting around. Let's look at this thermal design book right here. See if anything is interesting there. Thermal design, like new, $31.45. Go over here to Amazon. This looks like this has been in that range before, like on Amazon. You could have picked it up for right around the same price. This is a book that doesn't move a ton here. In the past, it has held some pretty good value. Like it has been selling for over 100. Kind of curious to see when this came out. It looks like an old book. Yeah. So this came out in 1995. So this is a book that definitely over the last 4,000 days has been really low. And going back to Tate's point, this is why you attract the book. Back here in 2017, could have picked this book up for $1. And clearly, this book has way more value than $1. So if you picked up a couple copies there, you would have made out like a bandit. But Amazon does have some history of being very volatile at this price. Like recently, the new price went all the way down to 49 and then kind of jumped right back up. But this is a book that, let's see, you had to spend 31 plus $4 shipping. This is something that I'd probably send an offer on to see if they would take maybe like 20. Because then if you could take like just 24.35 on this book, the goal would be to sell it for right around like 65 or 70. So that I'd probably try to sell it for $70 and that'd make a $20 profit. So hardcover, that looks good, 1995. So I'm actually going to go ahead and read the description and I'm going to basically say, hey, would you do $20? This has also been up for a long time. Like the sale ends in 23. I guess it's a sale. So maybe this just went on sale, but let's go ahead and say, hey, would you do $20? And let's see if they may or may not say yes or no. All right, let's see what else we got here. Is there a benefit to merchant fulfilling book orders instead of FBA? Based on what I can see is that you make just slightly more doing merchant fulfilled because shipping is a bit pricey. Yeah, you would. That's true. If you sell the book for the same price, merchant fulfilled or Amazon FBA, you're going to come out ahead merchant fulfilling it. However, you also got to remember that almost in all cases, when you do sell a book via FBA, you're selling it for more money than you would as a merchant fulfilled seller because of the buy box generally having a prime bump or prime gap. So most of the time, you're actually going to make more money selling it via prime because you might be able to merchant fulfill a book for 40, but then sell it FBA prime for 65. And so that price differential allows you actually to make more money, even though the fees on it are higher. The advantages to you shipping out a book merchant fulfilled, in my opinion, is one, you don't have to deal with restock limits or capacity limits is what it is now. But the only reason why I actually do merchant fulfilled is if there's ever a competitive advantage to do so. If there's a case where I can merchant fulfill a book for significantly more than what I should be able to sell that book at because maybe there's a low offer count, maybe because it's textbook season, I need to get the book in, then I'll go ahead and merchant fulfill it. But I only do it so if there's a competitive advantage. And usually there is not a competitive advantage to merchant fulfilling a book. Usually there's a competitive advantage to selling it prime because you get a prime bump, which means that you can charge a little bit more than what it's actually inherently worth. Late to the party. Good to see you here, Optimus. And we got Rosemary saying hi. Yeah, you made it. You are here. We're doing good here. So let's keep on going. Do I only sell books for book season? No, I sell books year round. And I sell most of my books during textbook season. And what's actually really funny is that if you look at my orange bars, it looks like a Keepa graph. It looks like the used price of books on a Keepa graph because basically January is super humped. And then I have August, which is super humped. And I have like a little mini hump usually in May as well. So I sell books all around, but I sell a lot of books during January and also August, which is when textbook season is. Good question. All right, let's come back here. So Flipmine looks like we've exhausted that, at least the new searches. Let's head on over to Amazon and see if we can find some Amazon to Amazon flips here. And one thing I will say is Flipmine, everyone, if you want to try it for free, there's a link down below in the description if you want to try out free trial of that. Also, you can use this for other categories as well. So if I get rid of this category and we look at category is, you got baby, you've got books, business, cameras, cell phones, collectibles, consumer electronics, and sporting goods. So there's video games. So there's tons of other categories you can use this for. I just am a bookseller and that's what I focus on. So that's why I have that. All right, let's go over to Amazon. Let's see if we can find or snag some potential deals here. And what we're going to do is use a software called Keepa, which is what we've been using to actually analyze books. So it's good. The good thing about Keepa is that you need to keep a subscription if you're going to do online arbitrage in the first place. So you might as well use the free features that it comes with. And let's actually use the product finder tool here. So I'm going to go over here to the left. And so I went to data. I'm going to product finder. The goal here is to find a book that has seen maybe a sharp decrease in price or a gradual decrease in price that has dropped the value of that book to a point where it could potentially be worth reselling. So let's start with anything that has a sales rank of up to 1.25 million. So we'll do this, sales rank between 1 and 1.25 million. Let's have Amazon be out of stock. And I don't care if a new third party is in stock, but if they are in stock, let's have their price be at least $55 or more. And let's go down to the use prices here. Let's say we want this book to be between $0 and $10 right now, but let's say in the last 30 days, we want the average of the book to be at least 15 or more. And maybe in the last 90 days, we also want it to be 15 or more. Let's see. So that's going to give us 650 products. Let's see if we can change this to 20 and 20 to see if we can narrow it down a little bit. Yeah, it's going to give us 300 products. So let's try that. Let's keep going down, make sure that we actually click books here because we're interested in books. That gives us a solid 77 products for us to look at. We could also look at offer counts and stuff like that. But I think 77 is enough for us just to go ahead and look through right now. So let's go ahead and let's do that. And let's see what else we got. Eric, Mr. Leach says, do you have plans to put together a Be Cool settings video? I was not a fan when I first used it simply because I had no idea what I was doing. You're running with Reprice it currently. Yeah, that is on the list to do. I have like 3 or 4 videos on the list to do, but I agree that a Be Cool video should be coming out soon because I think that would help a lot of people. Okay, let's see what else we got. I was confused using Keepa deals, but your video short recently explained it so easy. Killed it last few days. I think I did anyways, though. Nice. Yeah, Keepa deals is absolutely insane. So that was a little bit of a golden nugget. So I'm glad that you found that short useful. I try to make it like super simple or super to the point. So I'm glad that you're using it, Optimus, because Keepa deals is insane. Would you be interested to hear your thoughts on this ASIN? Paperwork sells for high dollar, even though the hardcover is available for much cheaper. I couldn't figure out why, but it seems consistent. All right, sounds good. Yeah, let's look at it. Let's look at it right now. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna have to type this in. Let's go over to Amazon. Oh, that's not that. Let's go over to Amazon. Okay, and then the ASIN is 0205905544. Let's see, racial and ethnic groups, black and white version, 13th edition. So there's a paperback and a hardcover. Wow, hardcover is $3. So paperback. So this is going to be all based upon sales velocity. One thing that you'll notice with the paperback here is that the sales velocity or the sales rank is way less or way worse than it is on the hardcover. And that makes sense because generally, let me open this in a new tab. Generally, people give hardcover formats more value because they're just easier to work with. They look nicer. They hold together better. So it makes sense that the sales rank of this hardcover is a lot better just due to the format, but then also the price of this is way cheaper. So what I'll say with this paperback book is that if you are going to sell it for this price of right around 75 or 80 bucks, clearly people are selling that. People are buying it much less frequently. What you need to make sure though is that I guess the reason why someone would buy it on the paperback is because they come to the listing and they come to the paperback and don't realize there's a hardcover. And so because there's so many people coming to this listing already, there's going to be a small percentage of people who just simply don't understand that there's a hardcover and they could buy it for way cheaper. And so they'll buy it on this paperback format type and buy it there. So if you use Keepa deals to pick up this book right here for $8.59, I think you did a great job because this is a book that I think is very likely to sell between $70 and $80, despite the fact that there's a hardcover. But like I said, the reason why I think that's going to happen is because there's so many people coming to this listing that a small percentage, maybe 3 to 5% of people don't understand there's a hardcover. So they just might assume this is the cheapest price for the book and they end up paying more money. So that would be my analysis of that book. Does Flipmine work in Germany? It does not. However, it does work on the Amazon US marketplace. So if you were to get an Amazon seller account in the US, you could use a VPN to say that you're in America. Then you could access Flipmine and you can buy books on eBay, send them to a prep center, have the prep center send them to Amazon. So you could do this all from Germany, but they do not have Flipmine in Germany, unfortunately. It said also a newer edition can be found in search selling for much lower, which has been around for years. Well, that doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, so let's go and take a look at that as well. let's go over. So newer edition, racial and ethnic groups rental edition. So this is going to be, this was the 13th edition on this page. This is the 15th edition actually. So here's the paperback. The 15th edition of this book is selling really great. I mean, it's selling for, well over $150. Hardcover is probably different. Yeah, this is the 8th edition, so that's not even the right book there. That's a different book. Yeah, so it looks like the newer edition of this book is still selling for significantly above that older edition, so that's good. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought it would be. You're welcome. If you find a book that's a solid winner, do you ever buy multiple copies, or what's the highest number of copies of a single book you bought? It really comes down to whether or not it's a textbook. Generally, I'm less likely to buy multiple copies, like more than 3 copies if it's a textbook, because textbooks can tank in price, especially if you have some really big mega sellers coming on the listing. For books that are not textbooks, I would be willing to buy more copies of, because it is likely that that thing could be undervalued. So let me give you an example of a book I bought multiple copies of. The Nation. All right. Tennessee State of the Nation. This is a book that came out in 2006. I actually just bought it like a week ago, but I had bought it previously before. So let's see. This came out in 2006. Here's a book that I would buy multiple copies of. So like when I came across this book had sold in the last 6 months for about 8 or 9 times above $65. There's this big repricing war between a couple sellers. I ended up picking up 4 copies here because I realized that when you look at Keepa and you expand out the data, this is a book that has been solid the last 3, 4, 5 years. Like this thing has been moving above $60. So I was like, all right, this is a book that doesn't really look like it is going to be I mean, it says 4th edition, so I guess it technically is a textbook, but this is something that has had such solid data over the past 4 or 5 years that, where its price never has been so low like that before, that I felt like that would be a great deal. I ended up selling all my copies up here. I ended up selling all my copies for more than $80. And then actually I started tracking this book, and the price of this went down to about $10.48, and that's when I picked up another copy. So my idea here is that I'll probably just send it back in and probably sell for, I mean, I sold the other copies for $99, so I would see, I don't see why I wouldn't sell that one for $99 as well. But yeah, I would say in the beginning, if you have less capital, limit your risk. Don't buy so many books. There's literally thousands of books on Amazon that are flippable right now, and you just got to find them. So there's no reason for you to risk all your capital in a few eggs. I would say if you don't got much capital, I would just buy individual copies. So I'd rather have you buy 300 books and have quantity 1 than 100 books and have quantity 3, because you're diversifying your risk, and you'll learn a lot more, because inherently some of the books you're going to buy are not going to sell, and you'll learn why. There's tons of reasons why. There's tons of pitfalls to this model that I've learned over the last 5-6 years. So I think buying 1 copy is probably going to be best in the beginning, but as you get more experience and maybe go up to 2, 3, or 4, for me, I would say the most I would ever even consider buying is 5, but generally I try to stay below 3. Oh, okay. So the 14 actually needs to be searched. It's not linked. That makes sense. Yeah. So we can just go racial and ethnic groups, boom, like that. 14th. And let's see if we can find it. Yeah, 14th. I've actually come across this book quite a bit. Yeah. So this book is also cheaper, right around $20. So what I'll say is, you just got to look at the Keepa data of that other book, the paperback. Like clearly this is still selling to this day. Would I buy this book for $25? No. But would I have bought it for $8.59? Yeah, I would have bought it for that, because the inherent risk of that is you lose 12 or $13, which I don't think is likely to happen. And plus, it's not like you have to sell it at $62 to make a profit. If you bought this for $12 after shipping, I mean, you could sell it at $39.99 and make a $10 profit. And this book is obviously way more likely to sell if it's $39.99 rather than if it's $80. But I bet you people will be able to sell this for right around 75. So, but it's definitely a good point here. See what else we got. Can you tell when there's a mega seller on a book when you list it? The easiest way to do that, Edgar, would just be for you to take a look at the offer. So if you find a book, like let's just find this book right here, and let's open this up on Amazon, this fashion design book. You would just go to the offers. So right now there's 43 offers, so you would click that, and then you would just see, I mean, you're going to be mostly interested in prime sellers, so you select prime, and then you just look at who the sellers are. And generally the bigger sellers are going to be like Rent You, Apex Media. It's these really big, like Rock City Books. That's a big one. And you're looking for stock quantity. So if you see anyone who has a lot of copies, that's going to be kind of a red flag. That's one thing that you want to avoid. And that's going to be probably the number one killer of you buying multiple copies of a book, is when you buy 4 or 5 copies of a book and then it's like, hey, Rent You has 30 copies in stock, and they're willing to tank the price of the listing just to sell all the copies, which basically makes it impossible for you to sell your book and make profit. So yeah, you just do that. Another way to do this would be to go to the data tab and go to the offers. And then in the offers tab, what you could do is just sort by who sold the most copies. And generally, if there's a big seller on the listing, it'll say, oh, they've sold 23 copies. You'll see their name there. And then you can see if they're still on the listing. If they have a stock quantity that's above 1, that means they're still on the listing. So that's another way. Another way you could do is you go to buy box use statistics, and you can kind of see who's winning the buy box in use condition. And you might see, hey, this is Rent You. They're winning the buy box a lot of the time. So generally, bigger sellers are going to win the buy box more frequently. Good question. Hoffman says, I have, but I did recently, and this book sold for $300 all day for over a year. But then less than a week later, multiple sellers came on with hundreds of new copies. Obviously, it's tanked now. Yeah. So that's going to be the number one, is diversify your risks, just like in any sort of investing. If you ever got money, it's best to diversify your risks. So I'm getting Seller Amp today. Can you post your fill? Yeah, I appreciate it. That's awesome. Let's see. Let me go ahead and do that right now. I appreciate the support. Yeah. It's right here. There you are. I appreciate you. Seller Amp, for those of you who don't know what Seller Amp is, it is not necessarily a tool that you need, but it will make life easier. And let's go and take a look at Seller Amp. This is Seller Amp on the left. It's going to pull up some information about the book. It's going to tell you if you're eligible to sell it. That's actually really helpful. There are other free Chrome extensions that will do that. But the real reason why I like Seller Amp is it has a built-in profit calculator, but mostly you have the ability to actually export all of the data that you want to a spreadsheet to make tracking easier. So I can basically put in my buy cost, my predicted sell price, and then what I can do is say where I bought the book, and I also can then put it to a specific spreadsheet, and that's just going to make things super easy on the back end when I need to track. So that's why I like Seller Amp for the Google Sheet integration. I still need to make a video of the Google Sheet integration. I have definitely shown people how to do that during live streams and stuff, but I should probably make a dedicated video to that because it's super helpful to me. But I appreciate that, though. Thank you so much. All right, let's continue. So we basically did this product finder search. This is the first book that we came across. This is The Fashion, The Definitive History of Costume and Style. Buy box is 31. You can pick this up for $7.58. The question is this something that has held value? I mean, if you look over the past year, this book generally has been between $15 to $20. So it definitely holds some value. You know, one of the reasons why this isn't a really expensive book, though, is just because there's so many people on the listing. There's so many sellers. But this is a book that if you saw a sharp decrease in price, sharp decrease in used offer count, you would definitely see the price of this spike. And here's an example. Like basically here, when the used offer count was 30, price of this was right around 30. And then as soon as the offer count went down all the way to 6, the price went up to like 150. So this shows you that because there's so much demand for this book, as soon as that offer count drops, this book is going up in price. The question is it likely that the offer count is going to drop because there's more demand than the supply coming on the market? Probably not anymore, but look how solid this buy box has been, though. Basically, this buy box has been between $35 to $38. It's been even higher recently to $40 for the last 4 months. And right now, you can pick this book up for $7.58. And the used offer count is maybe slightly higher than it has been in the past, but not too much higher. So let's just go see if these offers were moving here. So I'm looking at the prime sellers, include historical offers. And again, I'm going to go ahead and look at use condition and sort this by, I guess we can sort it by sold the last 30 days. That's not showing us anything. Actually, it is. So this is a person that was in stock that sold theirs at 47. So actually, they were in stock for not very long. This person sold theirs, looks like at maybe 129. That would be actually crazy if that's actually what they sold it for. This person sold theirs for 38. So, I mean, you can kind of see some of the prices that they're selling it at. So if you were to pick up a copy of this book, let's see, you'd spend right around like $11, right? 11, yeah, right around $12. So if you bought it for 12, you'd have to sell for like 35. I mean, you'd make a little bit of profit. So definitely probably not the best book, but this is a book that I think is a little bit undervalued right now. So there's potential there. But let's go ahead and see if we can find other things. Like, let's see, A Modern History of Japan. So this looks like it probably is a textbook as well. Great sales velocity on this. Maybe it's a little bit undervalued, right around $8. It has sold upwards of $30 in the past, but probably something that, again, is not quite undervalued. But let's actually look at the buy box prices on these. Notice that Amazon has rewarded the buy box to people upwards of $50. So there probably have been some sellers that have sold it for 50. But like I said, inherently, our model is not to exploit the buy box. We want to generally buy undervalued books. But that doesn't mean you can exploit the buy box. It just means that probably your business model shouldn't be based upon that. So let's see if there's anything else. This looks pretty interesting here. Okay. Yeah, so this is probably something that I would consider maybe picking up a copy of. And here's the reason why. Actually, I did pick up a copy of this March 23rd. I bought this 2 days ago. But let's take a look at this book. So this is something that has sold back in April and June between right around $20. Then it was selling from the $30 range. And by the way, there was a new third-party seller that whole time right around 30. And then once they've gone out of stock, the used price went up. And also the other third-party seller actually increased their price. And now this has been moving for right around 40 or 50. And then you can actually see that you can pick this up for right around $3 right now. So can you still do it? I guess not anymore. I guess that's now gone. But no. So if you're able to pick it up for how much, it'd be probably like $7.19. That's probably what I actually bought it for. This is something that I'll probably try to send and sell for like $39.99. And I think that would probably sell, considering that this has been selling now for right around $45-50. So interesting deal there for sure. Let's see. What's your opinion on the scalability of books versus OA? It's inherently going to be harder to scale with books because books are going to probably sell less frequently unless you're really honing in on great sales rank books where your margin's a lot lower. So if you hone in on books that are like sub 300K rank and you're making 30% to 50% ROI, it's super scalable. It's just that that's just not the business model I like. I like to have larger spreads. I like investing in books that sell less frequently, but inherently hold good value. So, I would say I work on this about 2 hours a day. I was able to do 105,000 in sales last year. That was about 30,000 in profit. And it was about 2 hours of work a day for pretty much every day. So I would say OA is definitely way more scalable because you can buy more products with a lower ROI, but that turn much quicker and have much better sales velocity. So I would say definitely traditional OA is going to be better in terms of scalability. It's going to be more capital intensive probably. Books is going to be much higher ROI, but like I said, they're going to sell less quickly. So, but with that said, I mean, there's no reason why you couldn't sell hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of books every year. I mean, there are plenty of sellers that do, but it'd probably be easier to sell hundreds of thousands of dollars in OA than it would books. All right, this book clearly looks undervalued to me. So let's see if we can snag a copy of this Fluid Power book. And if so, hopefully a couple people can snag this here in the stream. All right. Yeah, I think this book right here currently is definitely undervalued. So look, we got a copy right around 8 from Goodwill, Minnesota. Thrift Books at 8. Then we got here at 9, and then a couple of prime sellers at 10, 11, and then it shoots back up to 40. And let's go and take a look. So this book has been basically $20 to $40 over the past year. That's what this book has been selling at and the lowest used price. And then all of a sudden you had this massive repricing war between probably a couple of prime sellers. Now it's down to about $5. It looks like there is a newer edition of this book available, but that newer edition is still holding some really good value. Let's see, right now the buy box in that newer edition is about 95. And you can see that its used price is really, really healthy there. So this book here, this older edition, is still probably going to be selling. And notice that this is an older edition book. This came out in 2012. And 2023, it's still selling strong. Like it's selling in the $30 to $40 range. Amazon was still awarding the buy box upwards of $80 and awarded it about 46 here, awarded it 95. So there are probably people who did sell theirs at $95 there. You can click on any of these purple dots to see, like, for example, Rock City Books was able to move theirs at $72. So this is something that I think you could probably pick up a couple copies of, maybe 2 or 3 copies of, and you could probably sell this. I would say worst case scenario, you're probably selling this for like $29. And if you pick it up for $9, I mean, you're making money. It's not amazing, but obviously your goal would be to try to sell it for that price right around like $45. I mean, you might be able to win the buy box at 70. I mean, up until recently, the buy box was at 70, and probably some of those sales were there. So I would say, you could probably pick up a copy, few copies of that. Min price $29.99, max price 75. Like, I think you're going to move those copies. I think that's a good deal. I mean, this over the last 3,000 days has been pretty good. It's held some pretty good value, right around like 25 to 30 bucks. So I'd say that's a solid pickup. I'm going to pick up a couple copies of that if other people don't. I just want to confirm, is it best for us to not use our Prime account to order books from Amazon? You said just we open another account. I use my personal account that has Prime on it to buy merchant fulfilled books. So if you have a Prime account, it's fine for you to buy merchant fulfilled books because you're not taking advantage of having or being a Prime customer, because you're buying from a third-party seller who has the book at their warehouse or at their house and they're shipping it to you. So inherently having Prime gives you no advantage there. However, if you're ever coming across a book like we just saw here with this hydraulic book, let's take a look at that, where there is actually a few Prime sellers that you might want to pick up a copy of. Like, for example, we have one at $10.07 and $11.04. I think those would be good books to pick up. Those are things that you would not want to buy with your Amazon Prime account because you'd be taking advantage of free shipping. So I would, if I were you, I'd just create a second business account, a business Amazon account, and then buy those on that account. And I think it's still like if you spend $35, you get free shipping anyway. So you just add a few of these books to get over $35. Once you're over 35, then you check out and you get the free shipping, but you wouldn't be taking advantage of having a Prime service. So hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, any prep center recommendations? I use Central Virginia Prep. So they're located in Virginia. If you do end up using them, let them know that I sent you there. Central Virginia Prep, they're really great. They cost $2.25 per book, and their turnaround time is usually like 2 days. So once you tell them to make a shipment for you, they're going to send that in within usually 2 days. So super quick. I've also heard Little Owl and I think it's Ohio or Iowa. One of those two states. Little Owl has also been pretty good for books. I think their book cost is like $1.75. So they're actually a little bit cheaper than Central Virginia Prep. I haven't used them, but I've heard great things about them. But if you use Central Virginia Prep, let them know I sent you. But let's keep going. See. Okay, this book also looks buyable as well. This is the Toward Equity and Health. This is a book that has been selling for about 40 bucks last August, sold a few times in January for 40, and then it went all the way down to about 5 bucks. And actually recently has gone back up to about 15. So maybe we wouldn't want to buy it at 15, but if we would have bought this at 5, probably would have been a good deal. Let's look at the last 1,900 days. This is definitely a niche book, meaning that it sells during textbook season, but there probably aren't a lot of students who need this book for school. Excuse me. So, but it definitely does hold value. And even at 15, it's probably undervalued still. Like you could probably still make some decent money if you were to pick it up for about 20, but obviously it would have been a lot better deal to have picked this book up for right around like 5 plus shipping. You would have picked it up for 10. I think easily you would have been able to sell this book for about 45 because that's what Keepa suggests, is that it can move for 45. And let's actually look at what the Prime sellers have moved it for, if they have moved it. Let's go Prime. So I'm going to click Prime. I'm going to take off new because I want to look at used, and I'm going to go to click historical offers. And you can see this person went out of stock. How long ago is this? 21 days ago, they went out of stock and their price was $59.59. So that would logically tell you they probably sold it if they went out of stock. And so there you go. 29 days ago, it sold for $59.99. So if we plug that into the calculator, boom, you would have made $29 if you just did what that seller did. So there we go. Let's see. This is product finder. I'm not sure, Optimus, if you're still here, but Product Finder is also an insane way to find books as well. I know you're using the deals tab, like the way that I showed you. And also, Optimus, I'm not sure if you sell DVDs or sell movies, but the deals tab is also insane for DVDs and movies. Although I have started to buy a few of them, but I don't really mess with that. I just kind of was going to buy a few to make a short out of it, or to make a YouTube video about like how you could use the Keep a Deals page to also find books that are or find DVDs, or find movies, or find CDs, even vinyl. Like vinyl is actually super untapped there as well. Okay, so this is a book that basically has plummeted in price down to $5. Back in April and May, this thing was selling. It sold in used condition for $44, went out of stock, and then all these sales were going to be in new condition from a new third-party seller. Looks like new price is holding strong at $69. The question is, could you buy this for $6? and flip it. I mean, in the past, this looks like it's selling mainly in January. January 2020, this thing sold. This was actually sold in April and May. And then, yeah, so this has kind of been all over the place. It hasn't sold recently, but this is a book that if you were to pick up, you probably could still make decent money on it. It's really dependent on how many offers there are. So notice how there are 4 offers here. I definitely wouldn't buy all 4 of these. And so that probably also makes me maybe not want to buy this, because people who need the book are going to come across this book and obviously buy these copies. Now, if there was only 2 copies, I'd probably just buy one, honestly. But this is a book that, I don't know if this is going to sell. It should sell based upon past history, policy, tools, and design. It doesn't look like this is something. I mean, this came out in 2018, so it technically was still selling in 2022, and has sold. It did sell recently for 39. So, I mean, that's a book that I want to buy more than one copy on, though. And so that's what I'll say with that book. Let's see what else here. Anything else that looks interesting? Here's a book that you would not probably want to buy. This has been $75, $80 basically the whole year, but there's been no sales rank drop, which means no one's been buying it. But before that, people were buying it. So it's kind of interesting how this just went dead silent and no one needed this anymore. Could be very likely that there's a newer edition that came out. But this is a book that I would avoid. I want to buy that book. Let's see. We got Serendipity Bible. All right. This actually looks like it could be somewhat decent. I mean, this has been selling for right around $20, 15 to $20. Has had some pretty good sales velocity. Notice that the buy box price is often well above the lowest use price, which means that it's probably very likely you can exploit the buy box on this book. So if you pick this up for maybe around 10, and maybe if you can flip it, the buy box price around 35 or 40, you could probably make a little bit of money there. Let's see if there's any eBay offers that are super cheap. $10 looks like the cheapest there, but there's maybe a little potential in that. But for a book like this, you'd have to exploit the buy box, which people are probably moving it in. Probably are moving at prime around 30 to 40. So let's look at historical offers. Like this person was seen 4 days ago. That's when they went out of stock. They actually had 2 in stock. They went from 2 to 1 to 0. So that means they sold theirs for $47 in the buy box. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, honestly, the price of this book, like the value of this book's right around like 15 or $20. So I would say it's slightly undervalued. Not super undervalued. Let's see this book here. So here's something that's been moving for about 30 to $40. And then recently you can pick it up for 9. You notice that the used offer count is starting to rise on this book. And that generally is a bad sign, especially for books that don't sell as frequently. So that's probably something that I would pass on, because that used offer count is going up. Let's see, let's just check out maybe a couple more books. So here's something you can pick up for $3.93. Recently, it's been moving for about $22, lowest used price. It has been as low as $6 in the past, has been $30 in the past as well. But this has definitely held some pretty decent value, right around 20 to $30. This probably is not also a, this doesn't look like a textbook. Writing Adventures 2009. Yeah, this doesn't look like a textbook at all. So this is probably something that is actually, I mean, it is factually a little bit undervalued. And in the past, it has, like, it looks like the most it has been able to sell for is in the $50 range back here in 2021. So that's good news. And the used offer count is actually lower than it was in the past when it was selling for that. So I think this is probably something that would be a decent pickup here. Now I'm not eligible to sell it, but I'm assuming that I could probably get ungated in that pretty easily just by getting manually ungated. But let's see what the offers are. Yeah, so there's only one offer right now. Superbook deals. They're giving you this for basically $472. No, so what am I saying? $770. Wait, $792. What am I saying? Can't do math. Okay, $792. Now, like I said, this book is probably inherently right now worth around $20 to $30. So if you sold it for $29.99, you'd be making pretty good ROI on that. Let's look at the data tab to see if any of these prime sellers have moved some copies. So, same sort of deal here. We're going to be looking at, if this ever loads, looking at the prime sellers in used condition, and we're going to sort by last seen. But let's see. You're welcome. Thanks for answering. It does make sense. Cool. Awesome. Have you made a video on how to get the buy box? If not, it's probably a good one. I have not made a video on that, but yeah, I probably should make a video on that. The very short answer is if you're a new seller, you got to sell books. So I think once you sell between 50 and 100 books, somewhere between there, Amazon says, okay, we trust you. You're actually selling books that people want. They're not angry with you. Like customers are happy. I think that's when they start awarding you the buy box. Generally, being buy box eligible is that you got to be like the cheapest Amazon price or be within a certain percentage of the lowest price. And easiest way to win the buy box is with a repricer, so that you set a min price and a max price, and then basically you compete for the buy box. So the repricer is going to manually change the price every, I don't know, or automatically change the price every 5, 10, 15 minutes. So that's probably the easiest way to do that. Smash the like button. I appreciate that. Thank you, Rosemary. But yeah, I agree. A video on that would be great. Those are red flags, right? Ooh, good question. What about those drops on that book? Let's see if we can find that book again. The imbecile book. I think we got to go back right here. Okay, so basically used offer count here went from 9 to 1. I would say for a book like this, I would highly doubt that there's going to be IP complaints for this book. Probably, I don't know. There's a couple reasons why this could happen. It could be that everyone got restricted on this book. Let's see if I'm restricted on this book. See if it says I'm eligible to sell it. I am eligible to sell it. So it could be that people got restricted on this book, and therefore offer count went from 9 to 1 overnight. I would highly doubt it. This one was because of an IP, but you have seen in the past that it also has gone down from 10 to 2. So yeah, I would say this is already a book that I don't think was going to be a great deal to buy. So I don't know, to be honest with you. Yeah, you've seen these drops in used price. I don't know. There's a lot of reasons. It could be that. It could be that someone bought multiple copies of it, like one person bought 5 or 6 copies. But like I said, I would highly doubt that they're giving IPs for a book. I've never actually got an IP on any book ever, but I definitely have. I have got counterfeit claims before, but that's a good question. I don't know, to be honest with you. All right, I just want to show this last book here before I wanted to show this motorcycle book, this adventure riding, to see what the prime sellers have been moving theirs at. So what I'm going to do is I have it sorted to last seen here, and I want to include in historical offers. Let's sort by last seen, and let's see what the prime sellers are at. So right now you can see some of the prime sellers. We got some at 70, 39, 80, 62. So they're all over the place, but we're going to go down until we start seeing people who've had stock quantity go from 1 to 0, which means that they sold it. So this person went from 1 to 0 at the price of $33.99. Same thing here. This person was 33. This person was actually 63. This person was in new condition for 62. We have one at 26. This is actually not even a prime seller. I got to make sure I click the prime button. Let's see where else. Let's go back up. So then we got new at 60, got new at 60. That's actually, both of these are actually, these are new third-party FBA. Okay. Then we got one at 25. That one was quick. So, I mean, it's kind of in that range between 25 and 35. So like I said, if you were able to sell this for 35, you'd be making over 100% ROI. And, this is something that you could track, and also something that has sold for more in the past. Like it has sold upwards of 50 in the past. It's not a textbook. So I'd say that would be a solid pickup as well. It's not like you're making a home run out of that, but that's something that has potential. Let's just refresh Flipmine real quick. We'll do a little bit of Q&A, and then we'll round out the live stream. We'll go from there. Okay, $40 for this. So 65 for this Warhammer book, $40 over here on eBay. And let's look at Keepa here. So this thing has been selling for 60, $70 pretty consistently. That's good. You pick it up for 44, you would obviously not be able to make a margin there. But if you maybe try to get this for 24.35, you send an offer for 20, 24.35, that would be a solid pickup. You could probably sell this pretty easily around $69.99. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send an offer for 20 on this book. Let me just make sure everything else looks good here in condition. So devastation. Okay, looks like it's very good. It is going to be paperback. This is a paperback as well. Paperback. That looks good. And let's see. So make offer. I'm going to put 1 just to see what it says. It says the seller is more likely to respond if the offer is around 37. So probably what's going to happen is when I send them an offer of 20, it's probably going to automatically be rejected. Probably they would accept this offer. Usually eBay is pretty good at telling you what they would accept. So put 20. My guess is this is going to automatically be denied, but let's see. Offer was sent. Whether or not they accept it, it's probably unlikely, but Let's see if there's anything else that's popped up here. Cowboy boots real quick. A lot of these books that show that they're gated as well. Are we not? We're actually not even in the right search here. 25 profit. A lot of the books that are gated are also ungateable just by manually having to go through the book and look at it. But you can set up the feature on FlipMine so that you can see books that are gated. This one, if this is true, this would be a great pickup there. And we already saw that book. So let's look at Cowboy Boots. We can buy this for 28. It's in acceptable condition, which is not great. We can buy it for the same price over on Amazon. It's actually undervalued on Amazon because this has been selling for right around 40 bucks pretty consistently over the last year. So definitely a little bit undervalued. At a higher used offer count, though, this sells at a cheaper price, right around 20 bucks. Offer count is definitely rising a little bit, but yeah, this is something I pass on. There's not enough margin there, so I would just keep going. Now, this book, $3, Goodwill Books, they're just liquidating this. But I mean, over on Amazon, this has sold twice in the past few months at 33, but generally this book is not very valuable. Like it's generally been about $3. So that's a book you'd want to pass on as well. And I don't think there's anything else that was new that popped up. I think that's about it. There. So if you want to try out FlipMine, I also have a link to FlipMine if you want to check that out. And let's see what we got. Finally got up early enough here in Southern California to at least catch the ending. Let's go, Bob. Yeah, we were just ending. Had a pretty good session. Found some pretty good books. But thanks for being here. I'm about to end it, actually. Sam says, do I have a profit first video? I do have a profit first video. And yeah, you can just go to you can just type in probably Joji Davenport profit first and it should pop up. And I made that maybe 3 or 4 months ago. Definitely still very relevant. Still follow that system. Great system to be on if you're not on that system already. But yeah, that's what I got for everyone today. If you're interested in signing up for my newsletter, you can do that here. And then also have a Discord if you want to join the free Discord, Joji's Book Flippers. I can actually even show you my screen right now. So here's the Discord right here. So it looks like we got 19 people online, including Bob. Let's go, Bob. We got the used book guys in there too. So that's really cool. And then we got 111 people offline right now. So this is definitely a place where I have a lot of people sharing some good knowledge. So if you're interested in joining the free Discord group, that's there for you as well. And thank you, Eric. I'll be here obviously every Saturday. I'm curious, has anyone here seen any of the YouTube shorts that I've been putting out recently or the Instagram reels? I've been trying to film some very short, like 30-second content. I'm wondering what your thoughts are on it. And if you have any input, maybe in the Discord, if you are in the Discord, if you do watch any of them, you can let me know what you think about them. But yeah, I've been really interested in the shorts content scene. How do you join the Discord? Oh, you're loving the shorts, Rosemary. That's awesome. I'm glad. So this is the link to the Discord here. So basically you just go to that page and then you just put in your email address and then I'll give you the link to the Discord and you can join that way. You're welcome, Gary. Appreciate you. And you saw the shorts. What do you think, Bob? Well, I guess Bob, yeah, what do you think of the shorts? Curious. Trying to capture more people's attention. So I don't know. I think they're fun. They're actually really fun to make. Like one of the cool things about shorts is that everything has to be super condensed. So you have to be right to the point because most people swipe. Like they leave if it's not interesting immediately. So I think it's a game. Like it's so fun to try to figure out how do you capture people's attention for really short. And ironically, I'm a teacher, so I know that this is destroying the attention of our kids. So I'm like, I'm kind of conflicted about doing it more often, but they are short and quick to the point. But one of the struggles, I'm sure Mr. Leach here would also know because he teaches that a lot of the students who do have phones, man, they're on TikTok all the time and you have to take their phone from them or tell them to put their phone away. But shorts on YouTube. Yeah, I've been doing some YouTube shorts recently on my channel. The easiest way to look at them would be just to go over to my YouTube channel here. And let's see. Look at that. This guy's live, 23 people watching. Let's go. But what you would do is just go over to, so you go to my channel first. And once you're at my channel, you can go over here to shorts. And then you can see there's a few shorts that I've posted here recently. Actually, just posted this short today. It says sourcing Goodwill books at midnight. So that's that's a little bit of a it's not really clickbaity. I mean, it is true. I do source at Goodwill at night. I just buy books on eBay. I buy books from Goodwill on eBay and Amazon at midnight. So technically, that is true. Teenage brains, man. Yeah. Congrats on the 1,000 subs. I like them short and informative. Awesome, Bob. Glad that you like them. So I'm going to keep putting them out. My goal is to try to put out one short a day for 14 days and just see if that leads to any growth at all. I don't know. It may or may not, but it looks like people who are already part of the channel are finding that valuable. So I'm glad you're finding that useful. Yeah, short teaching, 10 minutes max is where it's at. 10-minute intervals, give them a break, move on. 10 minutes, give them a break, move on. Yeah, I agree. I agree for sure. All right, everybody. Well, that's all I got for you today. Every Saturday, 6:30 a.m. PST, we're live, we're sourcing. And that's a great time if you have questions and you don't necessarily want to do a one-on-one coaching session, bring your questions so that you can get them answered live. It'll probably help a whole bunch of other people out as well. Gary says, I love short video. All right, Gary. I want to know what you think, Gary, next Saturday or during the mentorship coaching or anything like that. I want to know your thought process on that because I'd be interested to see what your thoughts are because I care about what you think, Gary. So, all right, Denise, you're welcome. Have a good one, everyone. Peace out. And actually, before we leave, let me see if my friend over here is. Let me see if my friend is. If he is also streaming. Usually he's streaming right. He's not streaming right now. I was gonna go send him over there, but unfortunately not. All right. Thanks for your time. Have a great weekend, everyone. All right, everyone. Take it easy. And I'll see you. See you, AJ. All right. Peace out. All right. See ya.